Alors notre premier invité c'est Monsieur Skander Douss, doctorant en électronique et maître assistant à l'ISIMM, aussi membre de l'équipe de recherche télécom du laboratoire LTI à Nice. Et Monsieur Zack, entrepreneur américain en Tunisie. Bienvenue Monsieur.
J'aime pas trop les micros. Vous m'entendez comme ça, c'est bon? D'accord. Alors je vais utiliser. Donc, كيما زميلتكم باش نحكي باللغة العامية باللغة الدارجة. أول حاجة donc je remercie vivement tous les présents ici. J'ai l'habitude d'être ici à parler en français, donc c'est automatique. Bon, حبيت نشكر الناس الكل الحاضرين هنا وبالاخص لجنة التنظيم. جو سي كو نعرف انه حاجة صعيبة على الاخر، سورتو كي تكون أول مرة. J'ai organisé pas mal de conférences ou des événements sociaux. Donc حاجة راهي تظهر في الاخر سي بون عندنا دي جي nous avons des invités tout ça mais صدقوني بالنسبة للناس في الكوميتي d'organisation تعرف راهو c'est très compliqué et ça demande un travail d'équipe, un travail énormément un grand travail. Donc حبيت نشكرهم مرة أخرى لدرجة سيستحقوا التصفيق هم. Donc, l'Arabie a comme étant enseignant, je suis un doctorant, je suis docteur. J'ai terminé mon doctorat, ça fait 3 ou 4 ans. تعرفوا لي الناس كل كenseignant. J'ai quand même عندي خبرة صغيرة في tout ce qui est entreprise et création d'entreprise, tout ça. عندي pas mal d'activités sociales et sportives. Donc, je ne vais pas me présenter en tant qu'enseignant, chercheur. باش نحاول نحكي لكم بعد يمكن على الخلاصة نتاع حياتي إذا مازلت إن شاء الله مازلت في لي ديبيو تاعي راهو مش مازلت ما وصلتش معاه مازلت نحاول باش نوصل لحاجة كبيرة. Donc, je vais parler un peu en anglais. Donc, I'm very pleased to have with us Mr. Zack. He's an old friend and he's coming a friend of ISIMM. It's the second time that you'll be with us. I'll give him the first talk, perhaps to share with us his experience in manufacturing, especially. Thank you.
Thank you, Skander. I count it a privilege to be able to be here today. Thank you for welcoming me. Truly, I love Tunisian hospitality. Tunisians are very hospitable, and I love that about this country and about you. I'm also very excited to come here and see many young people excited about leadership. I think that is a wonderful thing, and it's a necessary thing for Tunisia at this time, in this place. And I believe that Tunisia has a very bright future. And when I look out there, I believe that the future is even brighter. So I love to see aspiring leaders. As Skander said, I'm here. I've started a business. We started a manufacturing company in lasers. That was the first business that we started. It became just after the revolution, 2011. We were originally scheduled to land here in February, but the revolution slowed us down a little bit, so we arrived in April. We count that as a great testimony to the Tunisian people, because right after the revolution, we were still able to come here and start a manufacturing business. So the people and all the things were in place, and they were working well enough for us to do that. And so that is a wonderful thing. But this being a leadership conference and a leadership club, again, I'm glad to be able to be here. I thought I might share one or two things about leadership, maybe some things that I've learned that might help you as you're young and aspiring leaders. And the first thing I'm going to say, and this may come as no surprise, but I think it's important to realize, leadership isn't easy. It's not easy. You know, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of perseverance, and it takes a lot of dedication. You know, business anywhere in the world is not easy. Doesn't matter where it is. And if you lead people in business or in your clubs or your organizations, it's not easy. But it's a very, very important role. But one of the things I wanted to say, and maybe challenge your thinking a little bit, is what is a leader and what does a leader do? Often what I see, and I see this in America, I see it in Europe, I see it here, it doesn't really matter where, I see the idea that leadership tends to be that people, I want to be a leader because I want people to follow me. I don't really maybe want to follow somebody else. I want to be followed. I want people to serve me rather than me serving somebody else. And I often think that that is one of the greatest motivations why people say, I want to be a leader. I don't want to follow them. I want to do my own thing, and hopefully people will follow me. Well, I'd like to turn that upside down. I think of leadership as something the opposite of that. For my role as a leader, I become the servant. And that may sound a little bit backwards, but even as a company, if you're a manufacturing company and you're making products, what am I doing? I'm serving a customer. And I need to continually keep that framework or that idea of I'm serving my customer. But who else am I serving? If I'm the president of a company, if I'm the manager of a department, or the leader of a club, who else am I serving? I'm serving those people who are in that organization underneath me. I've had the opportunity to try to mentor some people in leadership things, and often they struggle with, like maybe an employee who's not working well or different things like that. And we will talk about what are they to do. And I will often counsel them, the best thing that they can do, what they need to try to do, is to extract the best out of that employee. That's your job as a leader. My job as a leader is to come in and say, who is this person? What skill do they have? And how can I draw the best out of them? How can I give them the tools that they need? How can I give them the skill that they need, the space, the time, everything that they need so they can do their best? And if I can do that with all of my employees, with all of my people, then our company will do well. And if I can do that at the same time that I'm serving the customer and help my employees, help the people that I'm working with understand it's also about serving the customer, that we're here to serve rather than be served, that establishes a framework for a company that I think can grow, that can have a loyalty, that can have employees who love their job and can be loyal to the company, who can do their best, but really create an atmosphere at which people can excel. And that's what our job is. Right? Often I've talked with people and they'll say leadership, I've got a certain leadership style and everybody needs to follow. I was just talking with a friend a few days ago who is a leader, and they were talking about things and saying, well, this is how I need to lead. And I said, well, have you ever thought about the fact that maybe that's how you are as a leader, but what do your employees look like and what do they need from a leader? Not every employee needs the same leader. Some employees need leaders who give them more freedom. Some employees need leaders who give them more direction. Some need some who give them more accountability. So what's my job as a leader? Ideally, it's to know those employees. It's to know what they need. then adjust my leadership style to each one of them, again with the idea of serving them to draw the best out of them. To me, these are some of the most important things that I see in leadership. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody or every corporation is going to follow those or every leader, but when I look at the principles and the ethics and the morals and the way that I want to lead and the success that I've had in my own life and my own businesses, these are things that I find to be very, very important. Again, I want to share them with you this morning just because maybe it challenges your thinking a little bit. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's nothing new there, and that would be great. But just maybe it challenges your thinking about what a leader is. Because I've also known many leaders who's tried to step into leadership roles. That's what they're pursuing. They're pursuing leadership. And because they don't want to follow somebody, they don't want to serve somebody, they don't want to do whatever. And what I see in every one of those cases is that they don't end up going very far. They don't make it very far. And if they do have some financial success or other success, along the way they end up losing their relationships, they end up losing their happiness, they end up losing a lot of other things along the way. So we really need to count the cost. We really need to evaluate ourselves to say, what are we willing to do? What is our real purpose? Why do we want to be leaders? You know, I assume everybody here wants to be a leader because they want to see their communities, their families, their country excel in the world. Well, if that's what we want to do, then we need to think about how do we really do that? And often, I would say that comes through service. I don't know what else I should say at this time. There are many things that I could say, but I want to turn the floor back over to Skander. But I want to thank you. You know, we've got a manufacturing business here. Electronics, we're starting a new one that we're going to be manufacturing stuff. The first company was an export company for lasers. The next one's actually going to be a recreational equipment company. Trying to focus on products actually for the Tunisian market because we see a big need here. And we hope that we can bring things in that help. And part of our core values in our companies, you know, both companies that we're starting, is we want to develop leaders. You know, we want to, I guess that would be another thing that I'd like to say before we stop, is in the process of developing leaders, that's a huge value for us. We want to develop leaders. But in that process, that means you have to give people responsibility. You have to empower people to make decisions. You have to empower people actually to make mistakes, which can be a little bit scary, right? You entrust somebody to do something and they might end up making a mistake. But it's all part of that learning process and the empowering process that we want to do. And again, so it isn't just even the goal of saying, I want to lead and I want to serve these people, but it's also saying, I want to see them rise up and to be leaders. The things that we learn, we want to transfer to those who are working with us and working for us. And hopefully, they will take it and then they will transfer it to somebody else and they will transfer it to someone else. And eventually, that's how we grow, like as an organization. I've had people working for me. There's an English expression about climbing the corporate ladder. And people, all they want to do is get higher in the ladder. I tend to talk to my people about saying, why don't we start where we're at, and rather than trying to climb a ladder, let's build a foundation beneath us, a ladder below us. So I don't climb the ladder by rising higher, but I grow in my position by helping people beneath me grow. And so we transfer the information, we serve the people who are around us, and then we help them to transfer that information to other people. And then things can grow, things can multiply. Just like what we're doing now. We started one company, we've transferred the management to one person, we're starting another company. We hope to do the same, maybe not transfer the management of that, but we hope that company becomes a vehicle or a platform in which we can empower other companies to start. So these are some of the ideas that we have in leadership. It's not about trying to hold things in and looking out for my best interests, but it's really how do we look out for the best interest of those around us? That's what I'll say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Zack. Donc là, je ne parle pas, mais ce ne sera pas trop académique ce que je vais dire. En fin de compte, c'est bon. Donc, lorsqu'on parle des leaderships d'une façon générale, il faut savoir que c'est un caractère. D'être un leadership, c'est un caractère. Donc, pour un caractère, ça nécessite une intelligence. يمكن l'expérience الصغيرة اللي خديتها إنه l'intelligence أنواعها ساعات تكون موجودة في العبد والناس الكل تقريبا كيف نقيسوا les différents disons les différentes intelligences qu'on a on a tous le même niveau d'intelligence. اللي يتبدل هو نوعية l'intelligence, l'intelligence mathématique, de mémorisation, etc. L'essentiel est qu'on est tous intelligents, assez intelligents pour survivre. Donc, ce que je vais dire, que même si on n'a pas ce caractère de leadership, hein, ou une certaine intelligence dans certains domaines, ce que j'ai pu apprendre, c'est que l'intelligence, ça se travaille. Hein, donc, et on a des méthodes scientifiques ou autres, اللي تخلينا درجة الذكاء بتاعنا تطلع selon احنا وين نحبوا نوصلوا. Je نرجع très rapidement, on pourra peut-être avoir une autre occasion de parler quels sont les critères d'un leadership, opportuniste, persévérant, etc. Vous connaissez tous, je suppose que vous avez eu des cours sur cela. كنت في حالة بتاع نرفيز وحاسس بروحي مظلوم مش عارف اتقلبت. اي بان وقتها جي سونتي وفهمت المعنى بتاع انك تحب شنو تعمل. Même si on est, je pose toujours la question pour les étudiants en Égypte, parfois j'ai un bac à l'orientation, il faut aimer ce qu'on fait. Ça compte. مش هذا برك كافي. يلزمك تحب اللي تعمل وحاول تحب اللي يخدموا معك. ما الأستاذ مستحيل يكون ناجح، الأستاذ مستحيل يكون ناجح إذا كان ما يحبش التلامذة بتاعه، ما توصلش للعمل. مهما كان. كيف un leadership قال كلمة بكري très importante يلزم يخمم في les employés بتاعه. Voilà, donc en fin de compte, Inch'Allah, merci une autre fois pour la comité d'organisation. Je vais terminer par ça.